If you ever felt tired, overworked, or unsure about how to actually sell your craft and want to turn your passion into a real, organized, and profitable business, you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Christina, creative business productivity coach and someone who truly understands what it feels like to juggle creativity, clients, and real life. This podcast is here to help you grow from feeling overwhelmed and doing everything on your own to building a creative business that feels organized, sustainable, and actually works for you. Because you're not meant to figure this out alone. Let's get into today's episode and welcome to the Art K Coach podcast. I want you to think about yesterday. You probably work hard. You answer messages, check social media, reply to emails, maybe baked a cake, packed an order, edited a reels, talked to a client. You were busy. But at the end of the day, did you actually feel like you moved your business forward? If the answer is no, you're not alone. And today's episode is for you because I want to explain why. Hey, my sweet friend. If you enjoy this episode, the best way to give back is to follow the podcast, download the episode, and leave a review. It helps more cake artists like you find this space. Share it on social media, tag me at the Arcade Coach, and come say hi. I would love to connect with you. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or check the links in the show notes to stay connected. Well, hello, my sweet and creative friends. Welcome to another episode of the Art K Coach podcast. Christina here, super happy to have you back. Another Tuesday morning from Lisbon, Portugal. And today's episode is about why you are always busy, but somehow you still feel behind. Being busy is not really the problem. The problem is that what we are doing with the time that we're spending being busy is not actually about making progress. I think we have confused movement with progress, and thinking that we're always doing something means that we must be working really hard. I have a story for you. Recently, I saw a video online that explained that the concept of productivity or the concept of evaluating productivity by being busy all the time comes actually from factory lines. And it comes directly from Ford's factory lines because it was the only way to measure if the workers were actually being productive, because of course they were doing a repetitive thing. It was just a factory line, doing the same thing all day. So the more they did it, the more productive they were. And that is the concept that until today runs even the corporate world. And it's a wrong concept. It's so outdated, it's not relevant anymore. And the worst thing is that us, as creative business owner, as cake business owner, especially us who work from home and have landed into this business probably without any business knowledge and thinking, if I bake a cake and if I, paint some watercolors and if I take pretty pictures, maybe I can make a business out of it. We lack the business knowledge, so we build the recipe for disaster: the lack of business knowledge and facing our business like a job, and not only a job, but a factory line. So let me get this very clear for you. Just because we are constantly doing something doesn't mean that we are doing what matters. And I've had days like that. I keep having days like this. I keep having days where I feel that I didn't move my rear end away from the chair or the face or my face from the computer, but still, what did I accomplish? Did I book a new client? Did I finish a launch? Did I send the email that I had to send? No, I was just busy doing stuff that feels like I'm adding more frosting into a cake that was already frosted. But here is the biggest productivity trap. Being busy can sometimes be the easiest way to avoid doing the work that really moves your business forward. And it's just another form of procrastination. So let that sink in. Let's talk about decision fatigue. As home based business owners, either bakers or creatives, we made hundreds of decisions every day. And most of the time, we're by ourselves. We're second guessing those decisions. We don't think we have either the knowledge or the expertise to take those decisions. And we kind of end up winging it. And honestly blaming ourselves for everything. One of the core principles that I work with my coaches, the people that work with me as one-on-one coaches, as a one-on-one coach, or that work with me in the community, is to build your self-esteem to the point that you stop second guessing every decision and that you diminish as much as you can decision fatigue. Because probably your everyday sounds something like this: what should I work on? What do I post today? Should I answer this client now? Which cake design? What do I cook tonight? Which supplier? Should I prioritize my family before my business? Should I prioritize my business before my family? How can I manage this? I'm just tired. I can't. Every decision, every conversation in your head is costing you energy. By the afternoon, your brain is absolutely tired, not because you have worked harder, but because you have spent your whole day trying to decide on things and probably actually never getting to do it. So, as a result, your brain gets tired even before your body does. So the burnout is real. It's not, I'm just physically tired from being standing up in my kitchen for hours or from being sitting on a chair producing my craft or painting or whatever it is that you do for the whole day. Is mentally you're overload and extremely tired, and nobody can run a business from being overwhelmed. Now, on top of that, I want to share this. Let's do an exercise. Imagine that you're decorating a cake, then suddenly the phone rings and there is a message from a client. And then when you go check on the message from the client, you see an Instagram notification. And you also remember that you have to email the supplier to send you the things that you need for the cake. Then in the middle of all of that, you go back to the cake. But then WhatsApp notification comes in and you're going to check if it is the client, because the client might have something to change on the cake, and then you go back to the cake. Every interruption forces your brain to restart every single time. Now, imagine that you're doing exactly the same, but trying to read four books at the same time. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to finish any book. You're not going to understand what you're reading, and you're not going to get anywhere. And you're just going to be spending time not getting anywhere. You get it? This is what happened every day in your house. And of course, if you add that to all the interruptions that you have because you're working from home and because you have to take care of everything else. That was my life for so long, and it was exhausting. I was tired. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed, and I didn't know why. I was like, but why? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But actually, I wasn't. Now, you must be asking yourself, Christina, come on, this sounds dreadful. Is there any way that I can move away from decision fatigue and from this constant context switching, going from one thing to the other? Of course there is. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Calm productivity, time management systems that works for you is what solve all of these problems, because you find a way to go from one thing that you have to do, to focus your mind, to focus your work, to set boundaries, to know what to do, to know when to do it in a way that feels natural for the life that you're actually living, for your everyday. I don't want you to force into a system that is going to clash with your life and with everything around your life, like your family, your kids, your loved ones, another job if you have it. Otherwise, what I will be teaching you is something that is going to add more into your day and make you even more overwhelmed. And we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. Before we continue with today's episode, a quick thank you to our sponsor, the Vanilla Valley. The Vanilla Valley is a cake decorating supply shop where you can find everything you need, from tools and colorings to cake board, boxes, and other baking essentials. They also run a multi-buy deal on popular brands like Pro Gel, Color Meal, and Sugar and Crumbs, which is perfect for you if you're stocking up your cake studio. You can also join Club VV for free. The more you shop, the more you save throughout the year. And if you're running a busy cake business, they've also launched the VV Wholesales, their wholesale sister company for buying essential items like boards and boxes in bulk. You can find all the links in the show notes. Now, let's get back to our episode. Now, before we install any new system to help us manage our time, before we decide, okay, this is a system that works for me, this is the life that I have, and this is how I wanted to manage it, we need to have something tackled, and that is clarity. Lack of clarity is the real root of all evils when it comes to trying to manage your time and strategizing your work life balance around your business. So for me, this is the real issue. Many creatives don't wake up knowing what matters the most today. No, we don't. So everything becomes urgent. Everything feels important. Everything feels like I need to do this right now. What happens as a result is that nothing gets done because nothing gets our best attention. How do we know how to prioritize? Prioritizing comes from having the clarity to know what actually matters, what deserves my attention at a specific moment, and how to organize my day and my life around it. Clarity isn't about knowing how to do everything, it's about knowing what deserves your attention first. Now, and this is something that I've been working on for the past month or so when I started the rebranding of the Art Cake Coach to open it to not only cake makers, but creatives. I can give you all of the tools and all the exercises about clarity and about how to find clarity in your world. But do you know where clarity actually comes from? It comes from within. We need to work in ourselves to really know what we want the outcome of our business to be, and what we want our life to be. And I have some news for you. There is no magical way to do this. It's an everyday work. It's in the simple things, it's in the simple questions that we ask ourselves each day, every morning, that we find clarity. But clarity also means digging within and getting to know who you really are and what do you really want out of the cake business or the creative business that you're trying to run. And you have to be absolutely clear on that. What is it that you want? How do you want it to look like? How much are you willing to compromise? What are your non negotiables? What stage of life are you in that you're willing to sacrifice or that you're willing to invest in this business? Or how much you're willing to invest in this business? All of these questions are actually personal questions that are going to reflect in the health of your business. I have one very simple exercise that I ask myself when I'm overwhelmed, not only overwhelmed, when I'm not clear about what I want or about the outcome of something that I do. I call it the simple reset. I call it a simple reset. I find a quiet spot, or maybe in the morning before I wake up from my bed, when everything is calm, just before you do anything. And I ask myself, what must happen today? One thing, just one thing that gets in my head that needs to be done today. Surprisingly, not always the answer has to do with my business, but sometimes it does. But anyway, what must happen today? And then I ask myself, what can wait? Do it in a calm space, maybe while you're having your coffee in the garden or outside or in your kitchen by yourself, a quiet spot in your house, or before you wake up from bed. Three questions. What must happen today? What can wait? And what can I ignore? With these three simple but powerful questions, you're going to know one thing that is going to be a priority. You're going to know about one thing that actually doesn't deserve your attention. And you're going to know about one thing that needs to be set aside and put a boundary on it. And then, before you open your social media, before you open your emails, before you open WhatsApp, before you do anything, choose one task. One task that, if completed today, would make this day successful. Successful, not perfect. Of course, you need to decide what success means to you, but that little thing, protect it. Make it your priority. Everything else will come late. So let me give you, if I can, a little coaching tip before we leave. If you feel that you're behind, if you feel that you're overwhelmed, confused, you don't know how to prioritize, you don't know what decisions to make, you feel busy constantly, but you're never actually finishing something, I'm going to give you a small gift. It's not your fault, and it's not because you're lazy. It's because you've been trying to carry too many priorities at the same time. Your business actually doesn't need more of your hours. What it needs, it's more of your thoughtful and intentional attention. And attention is one of the most valuable things you own. So spend it wisely. So tomorrow morning, before you write your to-do list, ask yourself, if I could only complete one meaningful task today, what would it be? Just start there. Nothing else. You might be surprised of how much lighter and how much productive your day could feel. And if you want to keep this conversation going, tell me in the comments, either on social media or in the comments here on Spotify, when do you feel most distracted during your workday? And what distracts you the most? Is it emails, social media, client messages, trying to juggle everything? Let me know. I would love to get to know your side of the story. In the meantime, remember to ask yourself those little but very powerful questions. And remember, it's not your fault. Thank you so much, my creative and sweet friend, for listening to today's episode. And I say goodbye as I always say goodbye. Stay safe and stay creative. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, unsure what to focus next, or like you're constantly busy but not really moving forward, the Art of Creative Business community is for you. Inside, you'll find all the help creative home business owners need to go from feeling scattered to actually having a clear plan, structure, and direction in their business. Remember, you don't have to figure it out your creative business alone. There is a lovely community waiting for you. It's where we talk about real things: mindset, time management, orders, burnout, but we're doing it while we're having fun. So if you're ready to go from an overwhelmed creative with no time to enjoy life to a creative business owner with a plan and a productive business that brings you joy and an income, come and join us. I'll leave you the links in the show notes.